Greetings, guys. Let's quickly have a look at the USD MXN chart, which is the Mexican peso. So, I've got the monthly chart open, guys, as you can see, and already I can see that we had this area over here where we had price consolidating in the same area for quite some time. And then what happened from there is that we saw a breakout to the top, and over and above that we saw price creating this particular candlestick, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. So what this tells us is that we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting at this point, and that at some point price has to come back to that point to grab some liquidity. In fact, guys, I think what's probably happening in this particular situation is that price, or rather the market, is in the process of forming an M formation. And the reason why I say so is because, as I said, we have this candlestick over here which has a whole lot of liquidity sitting at this level, and that price has to come back to this level to grab that liquidity before actually pushing down, which is what I would love to see. Because also in this region over here where we had this area of consolidation, we have a whole lot of people who are buying in this area and putting their stop losses just below this particular area. So this for me would make sense, where price would come to this area to trigger all of those stop losses that are located in this region. That's what I would love to see happen. Nonetheless, let's continue. So what I'm going to do before we continue is I'm going to mark off that area that has a whole lot of liquidity. Just bear with me, guys. I will make it a different color. Okay, there we go. That's our liquidity area where price needs to get to, and also to possibly form that huge M structure that I spoke about. Let's continue. So what else do we see on this chart that is interesting or significant? We also have this area over here, which is a very strong area of support, where we had a touch here, a second touch here, and a third touch there. I'm just going to add a line as well, because it's a very important area. Let's see. I'll have it in this manner. There we go. Let's continue. So what else do we see on this chart that is significant? So as much as I spoke about that huge potential M structure, we also have, or rather we saw price creating an overextended M structure in this region, with the neckline being there. We saw price breaking the neckline, coming down, and then going back up again to retest that neckline. So we would have looked for selling opportunities in this region, and our first take profit would be this region, and that is because this is a very strong area of support, where we have the first touch here and the second touch there. So let me just add a neckline to that area. There we go. And I also want to use the Fibonacci retracement tool just to see if that neckline actually aligns with any of the key levels that we have on the Fibonacci retracement tool. Just bear with me. Let's see. There we go. So can you guys see that the neckline of this overextended M formation is in line with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement zone? So we would have looked for selling opportunities in this region, and had you sold at this region, good for you. Your take profit would have been at around this region over here. So let's continue. I'm just going to delete this Fibonacci retracement tool. So I don't see anything else of value really. So what I'm going to do now is head over to the weekly chart. So here we are on the weekly chart. So what do we see on this particular weekly chart? So we've been speaking about informations, but one thing I see on this chart is that we had a huge W structure as well, which has a neckline in this region, right? The neckline was broken here. However, price pushed further down, which meant that this neckline did not hold. And one of the reasons why this neckline did not hold is because we have an opposing M structure, which also have a neckline in the same region, right? So that explains why we saw price breaking the neckline here and never really pushing up further, but rather going down. It's because we have a huge M structure in this region. So let's continue. So another interesting thing in regards to why price never really broke this area is because we have this W formation. And guys, I usually say that when it comes to M and W formations is that in the case of a W formation, once the second leg of the W has been formed, a lot of investors would buy on the second leg and put their stop losses just below that W formation. Um, Another thing is that some investors and traders wait for price to break the neckline, and that's where they also buy and put their stop losses just below. So that's exactly what happened here, where we had this W formation with the neckline being there. A lot of investors were actually buying in this region. Hence, we are seeing this move actually coming down. It's actually a stop hunt because we have a whole lot of stop losses that are located in this region over here. So this is a stop hunt, and what we may see happen next actually is price may move from where it is to this point. And another reason why I say price may move up is because we have this candlestick as well, which is a bullish candlestick with a small body and a long upper wick. So what that tells us is that where that candlestick ends, we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting there, and the market has to actually grab that liquidity, right? So let us continue, guys. So what else do we see on this chart that is interesting or significant? We also have another liquidity candlestick here, which means that price has to come to this level. We have another one here as well, which means that in the future price has to come to this level as well, because these levels are liquidity areas and they contain a whole lot of money which needs to be triggered by the market. I don't seem to see anything else that's interesting on this chart. So what I'm going to do now actually is head over to the daily chart. Okay, so here we are, guys, on the daily chart. So the first thing that I'm going to do on this chart is actually add my channel. Just bear with me. Here goes my channel. I will add it in this manner. Just bear with me, guys. Just remember to ensure that all your drawings are as accurate as can be. There we go. There we go. So what do we see on this chart that is interesting? Let's see. So we had a W formation in this region with the neckline being there. Price broke the neckline, came back to retest it, but the neckline did not hold, unfortunately, where we saw price coming down. But as I said, guys, that this whole entire move here was actually a stop hunt because we had that huge W structure um, where I said that we have a whole lot of stop losses that are stuck below that W structure. We also have a smaller W structure in this region, and we have a whole lot of stop losses that are stuck at this region as well. So this particular move here makes perfect sense, and it is indeed a stop hunt. So let's continue. So over and above those W structures, we also have an M structure here with the neckline being there. We are yet to see price coming back to the neckline to retest it and then possibly pushing down. So when it comes to M formations, once the neckline has been broken and price heads back to the neckline in this manner, we normally look for selling opportunities at the zone. However, in this particular area, I would not look for selling opportunities because I believe that this whole move at this point in time was a stop hunt and that we have a very strong area of support in this region. Um, Nonetheless, we also have this um, candlestick over here. It is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. So this tells us that at this level we have a whole lot of liquidity sitting there, and that actually indeed what may happen is at the neckline of this M formation, price may bounce at that neckline and then come back to grab that liquidity that we spoke about again, and then push further up. So you may want to look for buying opportunities at this point and selling opportunities at this point actually. So let's continue. So before we continue, I'm just going to add a line to that candlestick, that bearish candlestick, so that we don't forget about the fact that we have a liquidity candlestick um, at this area, because it's a very important area. Just bear with me. I'll just make it a different color. I'll make it a purple. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So what else do we see on this chart that is significant, interesting, or of value? I don't see anything further. So what I'm going to do now is head over to the H4 chart. So here we are on the H4 chart. I'm just going to ensure that our daily channel is as accurate as possible. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. So the other thing that I'm going to do is add my H4 channel. So how would I add my H4 channel at this point in time? Let's see. Okay, I would add it this way. Just bear with me, guys. We just need to ensure that it is as accurate as can be. There goes our channel. It's a very steep channel. I don't like steep channels, to be honest. Nonetheless, it's what we're working with, so let us continue. I'm just going to make it a different color as well. I'll make it a black. Okay, there we are. So one thing that we can see about our channel is that price seems to have broken the channel at this point, which suggests that we may be getting ready to actually push up, right? Because as I said to you guys, that on the daily chart, this entire movement was a stop hunt to grab all of those stop losses that we had on that W formation, right? However, before price actually shoots up, what is likely to happen is price will likely come back to this level again to grab that liquidity that we spoke about. And then once that has happened, we are likely to see price pushing up. And this would at the same time be creating a nice W structure, which would have a neckline at this region. So a lot of people will be buying at around this area. And once again, once price breaks the neckline, they will be adding to their orders, and they will indeed again be putting their stop losses below here. So let's continue, guys. So what else do we see on this chart that is interesting or significant? So over and above us having this huge M structure with a neckline being there, which we spoke about on the daily chart, we also have an M structure here with a neckline there. Price broke the neckline, came back to retest it, and then we saw another small M structure there with a neckline being here. We saw another M structure there with the neckline being there. Price came back to retest that neckline, and yeah, that's what seems to be happening. Price is retesting that neckline, right? And let me just redraw it. Price is retesting the neckline of this M structure, and what may happen is um, it may push further down to grab liquidity here and then push further up. So that is it, guys, in as far as my analysis for USD MXN goes. I'm just gonna go back to the daily chart just to recap a bit. As I said, guys, on the daily chart, what price seems to be doing is, is creating sorry, let me just go back to the weekly chart actually. So on the weekly chart, I said that we have this huge W structure with the neckline being there, and that price at the moment seems to be stop hunting the stop losses that are stuck here, because a whole lot of traders and investors were buying in this region and placing their stop losses just here. So what may happen next is, once this area has been filled, that H4 candle has been filled, we are likely to see price pushing at least to this area. So this would be my first take profit. If price breaks this area, I would wait for it to come back to the area to retest it, and I would look for further buying opportunities. And my next take profit would be this area right here, which is I can just go back to the daily chart, which is actually um, would be forming the second leg of that M structure that we spoke about, right? Yeah, so that is it, guys, and as far as my analysis for this particular instrument goes.